here. Make sure we have the ability to post this up. So again, thank you for your time today. We were approached by Ross from Mactac, and we'll do some introductions in just a second. A few weeks ago, had this great idea of collaborating to show where we're both seeing a lot of creative effort on the printing side of the world to help fight against COVID-19. We're all in this together, and again, our number one priority is supporting you. So what we wanted to do today was, in collaboration with Mactac, provide some real basic ideas of things that you can do or you can provide to your customers, or if you're a print shop, things that you can do to shift your business so that you can not only stay relevant in today's work environment, but also shift your business to be more essential for your local community. So hopefully some of the information that we're able to convey today will provide you some ideas. And then after, if you have any questions, again, you're welcome to ask them to either myself or Ross. And we're happy to field those. And then beyond that, we have resources available on our respective websites. We'll provide that information to you as well. And we'll continue to work together to help you remain as profitable and as relevant as you can in your local community, so that you can continue to navigate these troubled times. So that being said, my name is Michael Maxwell. I'm the Senior Manager for our Corporate Strategic Development Group here at Mimaki USA. I've been, for the better part of about 20 years, working with the Mimaki line. Very excited to continue on with this. I have a pretty good technical background of the products, so even if some of the questions are a little technical in nature, I should be able to field some of them for you. And then I have my co-MC here, Ross. I'll turn it over to you for a second.
Hello, everybody. This is Ross Burnham, Senior Marketing Manager for Mactac's Distribution Products Division. I've been with Mactac for 19 years, so you got one up on me, Mike. And I'm calling in from my home office in Stowe, Ohio.
And I'm calling in from my home office in Atlanta, Georgia. So we've got a pretty good spread here, and we've got a really good turnout. Again, we are very, very happy that each of you felt confident enough in what we would be able to provide today that you joined us. So let's get into a little bit about who we are, right? So on the Mimaki side, we are wide format, and we left it pretty simple for this piece of the presentation. We're a very focused and driven company. We have been serving the Americas for 20 years now. We have been serving the global market for over 40. So we're really well versed in the digital printing world. And this is what we do. We're a focused, driven company. We're an innovative pioneer in the development of digital printing and cutting devices worldwide. And we've been operating out of Japan as our primary headquarters, and we have subsidiaries in over 150 countries at this point. So when it comes to wide format printing and cutting, we're the focused team here, and we really are proud of the things that we can do with our equipment. But we couldn't do it without partners such as Mactac. So with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Ross here for a second and let him explain who Mactac is.
Thanks very much. Before getting into Mactac, I just want to let everybody know that Mactac is prioritizing the safety of our employees and their families, our suppliers, and you, our valued customers. Many of our cross-functional teams are working from home, including me, but our plants are still open, supplying pressure-sensitive adhesives to the print community. Who is Mactac? What is Mactac? Mactac is a $350 million pressure-sensitive company with 600 employees working to provide printers across the industry. Our products are used in the flexographic, sheet-fed offset, and the wide format digital markets, and that's what we're going to focus on here today. Mactac has been innovating the pressure-sensitive adhesive industry for over 60 years. Mactac's base is Morgan Adhesives Company, and we were founded as an adhesives company, and with all the different options that we can put on the adhesives on, that's what we're helping the community with. We were acquired by Lintec of Japan in December 2016, and are part of a $2 billion global pressure-sensitive company. Just want to again thank Mike and the Mimaki team for including us in this presentation. We're happy to be here.
Right, and like Ross said, we're all in this together, and we also have instituted safety measures within our team to make sure that our teams are as safe as possible during this, and I'm sure that each of you has done that as well. We both continue to provide solutions. We are both continuing to offer these even during this crisis. And we realized really quickly early on that the people that really need to understand how to navigate this are the ones that are going to be out in the field, such as yourself. So we wanted to provide you with some guidance today. And again, helping you is our number one priority. And we're sure that you all are also experiencing the same things that we're experiencing with making sure that your families and that your employees are safe. They're able to continue to produce and provide some sort of service. But we wanted to show you how you can serve your customers immediately with our product lines. We are under some expectation that you have access to a digital printing device, either Mimaki or something other, and a Mactac product. But these are some ideas that you can do. So some of the focus we want to provide today is going to be on the films that Mactac has to offer and how they work with some of the printers and the inks that we offer on our side, and provide some application ideas to each of you so that you can look at what might be necessary for your local community, whether it's a retail space, a hospital, any type of driving parking lot type of environment where they might be setting up the ability to pick up goods, services, whatever. We want to provide you some ideas. And then again, we'll have an question and answer session at the end. We will also provide this presentation and supporting information to any of you that have joined through email, and also be serving this up on our respective websites. So we're really excited about the opportunity today. So floors, let's start with that. Ross, why don't I let you kind of take the lead on this one and kind of explain what it is that your films are doing to help the local communities.
Thanks very much, Mike. In our focus on providing floor graphics to the industry, we've been doing this for a long time. And right now, with the situation at hand, there's a lot of demand for different materials for different substrates and different applications. Just kind of wanted to walk the team here through some of the key products that we're seeing. The products that are mentioned in the presentation are all certified for the Mimaki presses, whether they're solvent or the UV line. Starting off with wayfinding, hospitals, social distancing circles. We're seeing these pop up all over the place. I'm in Ohio, and our grocery stores, Home Depot, all these different places that we need to go to during the day are having these graphics. But the one thing to consider is what type of surface are you adhering to? Is it going to be a high surface energy tile? Is it going to be a low shag or low pile carpet? Or is it going to be concrete, whether it's rough or sealed in nature? So these are important because you got to select the products with the right adhesives to work in these environments. So we wanted to give a couple of examples of our print vinyl gray, the PVG material. That is a promotional grade 4-year indoor material. It's got a gray opaque adhesive, and the removal is important because when this is all done, you're going to want to remove that material and make it easy for the folks that have to do that job. For floor graphics, we always recommend a slip resistant over laminate, and for a short-term situation, which we hope this is, our PF 6400 is a good textured economy type of a material. So we're going to recommend products for applications and try to get the least expensive materials out there that we can. For carpet, we do have a specific product that we recommend in our Imagine line, which is our HTO, or high tech opaque. Again, this is a gray back adhesive. It's a solvent acrylic adhesive, and it has a very, very high cohesive strength. And what that means is that when it's time to remove the carpet graphic, you're not going to have any residue left behind. No residue means no ghosting, no shadows of where the decal floor graphic was. Again, the Permaflex PF 6400 line is a good economy textured over laminate for indoor dry applications. We also have a product called Street Wrap, which is a great media that has a very thick, aggressive adhesive. Thick and aggressive because if you're in unfinished concrete or asphalt, you need to get into the nooks and crannies. So the STR 328 is a fantastic product for outside wayfinding, for where to go, where to stand, what to do. And that is matched up with our floor grip textured over laminate, which is the PF 6600. That combination is certified for slip resistance by the National Floor Safety Institute, which is a ANSI standard. This is the latest and the greatest that we have found, and we have great confidence that in outdoor wet applications as well as dry applications, with this third-party certification, we're offering the marketplace the best combination of products for slip resistance. The Street Tracks product is a unique one that we came out with last year. That is a grit coated media that is solvent UV printable and does not need a laminate. It's about 13.5 mils thick, and it has similar adhesive to the street wrap, so very aggressive. So it's basically print and apply. Now you're walking on the graphic itself on the ink, so if it's going to be there for long term, it's going to get a little dirty, may get a little scuffed up because of the ink durability. But if it's going to be a short term, then Street Tracks is a great product to look at, and has a similar price point as the street wrap and the floor grip combination above. There are lots of other products we could recommend, but we wanted to have you guys walk away with some specific parts, and then any questions that we can answer on other applications, we'd be happy to do. So that is what we have for floors.
Yeah, and thank you, Ross. On our side for the printing and cutting devices, we do have all-in-one devices. You'll notice that we have the UCJV and the CJV series mentioned at the bottom there. That's certainly not an exhaustive list for what we can do on our end, but there are some recommendations for the ink type depending on what you're trying to do. So to Ross's point, if you're trying to go to tile carpet, you're probably going to laminate with some sort of non-slip surface or something like that. But there are instances where the signage is temporary enough where you don't laminate, in which case we have a couple of different recommendations. For durability of prints and exterior, both the UV curable and solvent products are really well respected, and they're able to last for the duration time we expect outdoors with these films. But the UV curable provides a little bit more wearability if you're not going to laminate. Again, it depends on what you need, but if you're going to go with an unlaminated, solvent's a really fantastic technology for customers that want that outdoor durability without lamination. But the wearability is really going to come down to Ross's point, the film. So it can wear a little bit more because we're producing within the film itself. So we're adopting the characteristics of that film. So in those cases, you may want to consider a UV curable if you have access to it, because the ink it's thicker, it sits on the surface of the material, and it provides just a little bit of extra wearability, which might get you through the time that you need. But you can see some examples of prints and cuts that are done for wayfinding on floors that can be produced with just about any of our print and cut devices or our printer and cutters separately. So these films are fantastic for these types of environments. And these are types of things that we're seeing out in the public space right now. So from a flooring perspective, it really helps a lot of our customers right now understand what a realistic 6-foot distance looks like. And I also had the experience of going into one of the local grocery stores yesterday, actually, and they've got some I guess masking tape on the floor to show where 6 feet is, but you can see that people they're not identifying it because it's not attracting them like the image that you see that says, please keep distance. These are the types of, graphics that are catching people's attention and reminding them, hey, this is where safe distance is, rather than just putting a piece of tape on the ground. So these are the types of things from a printing perspective that you can do with these films to help remind customers when they're standing in line or looking at their phones. They're typically looking down. They're going to see these graphics pretty quickly, and it's going to keep reminding them that they're practicing social distancing practices and really help out reduce the spread. But we've also got wall applications, and again, I'll turn this over to Ross to talk about the films and what he sees on his side.
Thanks, Mike. During these times, there's a lot of applications where walls are being used for wayfinding, for signage, for directions. but also I'm in my home office right now and I'm staring at a big blank wall. So, you know, if I was going to be here a long time, I think I would really like to have a Peyton Manning poster put up on my wall or something like that. So the new home office productivity, whether it's utilizing a functional film like a chalkboard vinyl that we have that can be printed with white and CMYK, or a functional film such as a dry erase film that can go over a print media. So now I can create a dry erase board out of a wall in a bedroom or such. So we're seeing a lot of this type of interest and demand for these products. And one of the things that Mactac has developed early on was the ability to adhere to zero VOC painted drywall. This has been a big issue in our industry with folks that are using materials that tend not to stick to zero VOC paint. So we've got a couple of products here that we'd like to mention to you guys so that you can understand that these work well, including our Rudel and Wall Noodle products. These are 6 mil vinyl, PVC vinyl. The Wall Noodle has a microsphere adhesive system that's repositionable. So if I wanted to put something up, take it down, put it up, take it down, that is the product to use. So that poster size print right there, that's what we would use as the Wall Noodle. The Rudel, same face stock, but is a much more aggressive removable adhesive. So that is what you would use for a whole wall. And if it was going to be short term, up to 2 years, both those products are removable. The one thing with the Rudel, and how would you choose Rudel over Wall Noodle? Well, when you peel Rudel off of a wall, it's probably going to stretch the graphic. So it's really kind of a one and done. So if you're going to put something up and then never take it down until it's time to replace it, Rudel would be the way to go. Both Wall Noodle and Rudel are available in 54 or 60 inch, and again, are solvent and UV printable. The Rebel line, we have a fantastic line in our intermediate Rebel, which is a 5-year outdoor print media. This has a 99% opacity factor built into the face with a clear adhesive. So I could put this graphic over a zebra stripe and you wouldn't see the zebra stripe behind it. And we do that without putting any kind of filler or color into the adhesive, which typically on like print vinyl gray gives you that opacity. Because we've incorporated it into the face stock, that gives our adhesive values so much better performance, whether it's our removable or permanent or high tack or extreme. The high tack adhesive is what we recommend for zero VOC painted walls, whether it be in a commercial area or in a residential area. If it's going to be up for a long time and you want to protect that image, especially if it's going to be in a wipe down environment, then our Color Guard LUV line is what we would recommend. Color Guard and Rebel are like peas and carrots. They came out about the same time 10 years ago, and they work fantastic together. The Color Guard line has a matte, a luster, and a gloss finish. And again, that protects the image from cleaning as well as sun fade, UV sun fade down the road. So you get twice the life out of the ink that you normally would. We've got, again, some functional films, our dry erase lamp. This adhesive on this dry erase works very well on UV ink, and we're very confident with that application. And a little bit about wall chalker. Wall chalker is a thick 5 mil plus textured black wall chalker vinyl. So instead of painting a wall for chalkboard vinyl or chalkboard, we now can provide you with a vinyl that can be UV flatbed printed or roll-to-roll printed. Again, anything that would print white as a base on that would work great. And the unique thing with wall chalker is that if you're using a, whether it be traditional chalk or a liquid chalk marker, there is a whole industry out there for different types of colors, for PMS colors that match brands, as well as for chisel points, fine points, all kinds of different things that are out there. You can find them on Amazon.com. So a couple of different products here, and look forward to any questions that you guys might have at the end of the presentation. Mike?
Yeah, thanks, Ross. And to the point, everyone right now, we mentioned earlier, is probably working from some sort of home office environment. These applications are fantastic for a couple of things. You know, with the turnaround time that's required in order to get something off of Amazon right now, because of the amount of people that are ordering things off of Amazon, if you needed a whiteboard or a chalkboard for your office environment, it may be a while before you get one, and it's not really helping you during this time. So this is a great way for our print service providers locally to provide these types of applications in a very short time frame. We have fast or instant dry inks that work with these materials. They allow you to create, just like the image that you see down at the bottom, the charted out chalkboard. We can print directly to them. We can give you the ability to structure this however you want. So you can customize these as customers need, based on their need. But there's also another thing to consider, and I run into the same problem. A lot of home office environments, the walls in there may not be suitable for the sizes of the whiteboards or the chalkboards that are available on Amazon. So now you can offer a customized shape and size for whatever the customer's need is, and it provides them the ability to continue working remotely while having exactly the tools that they need that are being provided by you. So again, it makes you relevant. It provides you a way to connect with your local community, so that not everything's purchased off of Amazon from some warehouse. It's able to provide some sort of a service, and there's other opportunities as well. So you mentioned the Peyton Manning decal. Children. My son right now is finishing his kindergarten year up in our kitchen. Children are getting cabin fever, right? There's a lot of different things that kids are not able to do right now, and they're spending a lot more time at home. And ideally, they'll spend some time outside, but there's a lot of cabin fever going on with children specifically. So this is an opportunity for you to provide some sort of service where maybe there's a temporary decal or something that can be purchased for a minimal cost that's custom to whatever that kid's interests are, whether it's Legos or football or video games or whatever it is. And you can have the customer, you can ship it to them, and you can have the customer install it themselves. And with the inks that we provide, whether it's the solvent or the UV side, they're Green Guard Gold certified. So that means that they've been certified through a stringent set of testing to make sure that they're safe for interior environments, they're safe for customers that might have sensitivities for allergies and things like that. So with all of these things in place, you can take these application ideas, and you can provide these ideas either over on your website, through e-blasts, whatever you want, through your social media channels, and pick up some additional business that you may not have been able to pick up otherwise, because maybe the customer would see that your shop is, and I'll kind of just stick it to a sign realm right now. But if your company is a sign shop, that may not resonate that you can get a whiteboard or a chalkboard from your facility. So being able to provide these ideas on your websites and through your social media channels, and being able to produce them in real time, is a real good way for you, again, to stay relevant. And these are, again, ideas that we hope that will provide you some way to keep your businesses going and relevant during this time. But there's also window applications for the times that you have to go out into the public, right? So if you do have to go to an urgent care, or you do have to go to a retail space or the grocery store like I did, there's a lot of really good applications that you can do from windows that give you a quick snapshot while you're driving through the parking lot of what's going on in that moment. And these are great applications. And again, I'll turn this over to Ross to kind of speak to his part about the films, but these are great applications as well to help customers that are afraid of going out into the public right now. Ross?
Thanks, Mike. So we're identifying and calling out two products here, one being our M.Dot Clear. M.Dot is a film that we came out with about a year ago. This has a dot pattern adhesive on the back of a clear PVC face. And what this will do for you is a couple different things. One is it provides a natural air egress pattern for the installation. So it's going to make it really simple for somebody behind the counter, somebody that's working at that facility that's open, the ability to put this material on the window, and it's repositionable. So if it's not perfectly straight or it's not in the right location, they can peel that off, put it in another location. Because it's a dot pattern adhesive for the air egress and not a specialty liner, The pricing point of this product is very low, so it's very competitive, especially for a competitive or a situation that we're in that you don't need multiple year. This is a 1-year promotional material. Again, solvent, UV printable, and would probably not get laminated. It would just be print and apply. You could reverse print it, put it on the inside of a window, is what most people do. Again, easy up and also easy down. We also want to shout out to the Rebel 528R for removable. Again, without the gray adhesive, we've got the clear adhesive. This graphic going on a window, from the backside, you're going to see a white film as opposed to a gray graphic. And that is much preferred and appreciated by the community. The other thing is that with a clear adhesive, you're not going to get a gray border around the outside of your graphic if you're using this in other applications. The Rebel line also has a 90-pound super lay flat liner that it comes with, and that super lay flat liner has a high hardwood content. So as we start getting into the humid months, especially in the southeast, that liner is not going to absorb moisture and start scalloping. So if you're wanting to print on your Mimaki flatbed UV, the Rebel line would be a great product for the flatbed or the roll-to-roll solvent or UV lines. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. These are really critical things, and the fact that, to your point, if we're getting into humid months, spring's going to be kicking up real quick here. The fact that you're able to produce these and provide these, sometimes they might need to move them. Maybe the decal gets damaged in the removable, and they need an extra one, or they just want to order some duplicates. The fact that you can print these and store these without having to worry about application issues from your customers once they do go to use it is real critical. And these are really fantastic applications. Again, with what you see on the screen here, store hours are a big thing right now. And I'm going to reference my experience with going out into the public yesterday. But the store hours in my local grocery store have changed. And when I drove up into the parking lot, before I even got out of my car, I was able to spot check that the store was open, what time they closed, and what a lot of their safety measures were. Right, some stores are only allowing a certain amount of clients into the store at a time, and there might be a checkpoint where you have to go to either sign in to get in, or make sure that you let them know that you have an interest in getting in, and you can get in line. And then again, we get into the graphics on the floor of safe distances while you're waiting to go into that store. So it's a real great way for policy of each store, directives, any kind of warnings, whether you're open for business. And these can be produced for Windows, but there's also other applications for Windows also in an interior setting that you can use. So for example, the grocery store, again, I'll go reference my experience here, but grocery store had some 8.5 by 11 traditional printed up paper stuck all over their coolers to let customers know that there's been a run on pancakes or potatoes or whatever it might be in the frozen section, and that they were limiting customers to a certain amount of items. And those signs tend to get taped up with regular clear tape or some sort of masking tape, and they get ripped off, or they get marred with moisture as the employees are going around wiping the windows down and doing their due diligence to keep the surfaces clean, especially the ones where you have to touch all the time. So being able to produce on these types of films gives them more permanence to that, that acknowledgement to what the expectations are of that store. And again, it's in an environment where these inks and these materials really are going to shine. So again, if it's interior or exterior, these window applications are a real critical piece of letting customers know that you've got these safety measures, what your employees are going to be doing, what they should be doing, and checking your surroundings or washing your hands or whatever it needs to be. And these are key critical applications and things that you can produce quickly interior in your facilities and provide your local retail. So again, you should be reaching out to your retail locations, pick up the phone, call them, your hospitals, and say, hey, we provide this service. We have the ability to do all these applications, and here's what our turnaround times look like. And that leads us to another one, which is kind of a given with a lot of what we do, but decals and signage are a huge part of everything, especially with high touch surfaces. surfaces that you shouldn't be touching. Hospitals are a real good environment for this, making sure you know which bins are handling personal protective gear that might be being tossed away that came out of an environment that might have access to COVID patients. Warning labels as you're making your way through. I'm thinking about decals on the fronts of counters. Even in hallways, there's a lot of different decals on the door where you might want to make sure that customers know not to enter, or this is the door you should enter. So to that point, I'd like to turn over to Ross again for some of the films and how they're seeing the decal and signage during this time.
Thanks, Mike. I think one of the things you're starting to see is we're kind of duplicating the materials that we're recommending in the different applications, and this is what is good with the combination of the Mimaki inks and presses with the Mactac materials, is that one roll of material can be used on multiple presses and can be used for multiple applications. So you're going to see a lot of the Rebel line again, the Rebel 528 high tack, and that's a really good go-to, no drama product that's going to work on low surface energy plastics and powder coated metal um, surfaces, such as vending machines. So these were developed for the screen print industry and also for the wide format digital industry with the construction that we've got. So really good adhesive combination of the high tack for those applications that are hard to stick to. And what you don't want to do is create a label and send it out and have it fall off. So the Rebel high tack is the way to go. On the glass, same as the Windows prior, the M.Dot clear, and we also do offer a static cling clear and a static cling white that I'm calling out the clear part number here. If you're looking at aluminum, stainless steel, the print vinyl gray or the Rudel would be good choices for that as well. Mike?
Yeah, and on our side, you've seen several of our product codes being presented. There's really not a wrong way to approach this. Even with the flatbed you see on here, if you needed to produce on these films, if you have access only to a flatbed, you can still put these films, to Ross's point, a lot of these came over from screen printing and traditional printing processes. So some of them are already in cut sheet. You can place them on our flatbed printers and get the same result. So there's a lot of versatility and a lot of ways for you to utilize the equipment that you have in your shop already. And the ink works really well with these films, and they really work well with these applications. So there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize the technology that you have. But let's assume that maybe you are looking or you have a need, and this isn't a shameless sales plug here, but if there's a need for you to expand to be relevant in your local market, we have teams throughout the US that are able to answer questions and maybe give you some guidance. And there are some ways for us to provide some support if there is a need to add a printer. Maybe you only have access to a flatbed and you find that you need a roll to roll or vice versa, or you have access to a solvent printer and it's doing something else and you need to add a supplemental printer. We're hoping that business is growing in this time and that you're able to diversify, but these are areas that we can help you with on the Mimaki side. So we have our contact information, and we have several of our regions that are managed through key offices in those regions. Now, most of them, to our safety of our employees, have been closed in response to either federal or local guidelines. But we do have these offices staffed remotely, and you can call and ask them any questions, whether it's a technical or maybe you have access to another print service provider locally that can do some printing for you, and you're collaborating with them, and they have a Mimaki and you don't. Feel free to give us a call. We'll give you some guidance on how you can leverage the technology and give you some pointers on how the technology can be useful for you. So go to our website if you have any questions about the technology on the ink or the machine side. You can go to mimakiusa.com/contact for more information of phone numbers, email addresses, and that nature. And on the Mactac side, Ross, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. On the Mactac side, we're proud to have a dedicated sales force for the wide format print industry, and we've listed the contact names and information here for your use. The different shadows are the regions that the district sales managers have territory responsibility for, And please, if you've got an application that we can help you out with, we're ready to help. Anything we can do in this situation and beyond, please reach out and let us offer any assistance we can.
Okay, so now we'd like to open the floor up for questions. I think, Lisa, you've got some questions already queued up in the chat, so let's get to those first, and then we will indicate when we can open up the verbal questions as well. So, Lisa, shoot us a question.
Perfect. Ross, the first question's for you. What products are best for coated nonstick surfaces?
Coated nonstick surfaces. Well, depending on, a coated nonstick surface, I'm trying to think of what that would be. So I think when we get into the live question and answer, I think that if somebody could ask that question again for the specific application, I would take a look at that. These are not silicone-based adhesives. These are either emulsion acrylics or rubber-based adhesives, but they, depending on the surface, I need a little bit more information for that one.
Yeah, I'm guessing that maybe it was related to powder coated, maybe, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and open that up to get the details.
Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Who distributes your products in Canada? That's for both of you.
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, we have an office in Toronto that hosts several dealers. We do have a pretty good network of dealers up there that are able to help. I would encourage you to call our Toronto office, which unfortunately was not represented on that US map that I just showed, but it is on our website. And our regional manager up there, Lucas Crossley, can direct you to the correct dealer up in that market. But we do have a presence up there. We do have an office physically up there, and we can answer any questions through that team.
And for the Mactac list of distributors on Mactac.com, we have a list of our distributors both in Canada and the U.S. For you to find. We also have Lem, who is in the Toronto area, servicing Eastern Canada, and we have Elaine, who's coming back from maternity leave soon, who is on the West Coast in the Northwest.
Okay, next question. Is the artwork available for the products you mentioned? I think they're talking about the various applications that have been discussed today.
Oh, if we have artwork available to distribute to customers that want to start producing immediately?
Yes.
So at our end, no, we typically don't provide any art files. We did scour some of our customers and provide some imagery as a way to describe this. But from our end, no, we don't have any specific artwork. It's really tough for there's so many different things that you can print. There's so many different files and ways to do it. So we typically leave that up to the individual print service provider to create their own files. Just because there's usually some way that the file needs to be adjusted or corrected for their customer. And in a lot of cases, there's too many different file formats to manage and too many different ways that those files can be structured. So as a rule of thumb, no, we don't. We're just providing these examples as a way for you to get some ideas. But you would probably need to either get some designer involved or gain access to some sort of a download service that would provide imagery and or the text that you're looking for online. There's several services that are available. One that comes to mind is like Shutterstock, for example, and there's several others that provide either vector or imagery graphics that you can use with a license to provide. And that's the other piece that we typically aren't able to do files is because of licensing of some of these images. So we can use them as an example in a presentation like this, for example, but it's not something that we typically can share with others for you because we would have to transfer a license if we had access to the file. So unfortunately, the answer is no from our end, but there are several resources that we can direct you to. Then again, if you have a local need, we might have a local designer or a local sign shop that we can recommend through our regional offices that can turn you over to someone that might be able to do that layout for you.
That was the last
That was a
question.
very comprehensive.
Oh, sorry.
The one thing I'd want to add to that, Mactac is similar. We do not have any artwork files for the similar explanation that Mike gave, but we do have an extensive array of ICC profiles for the Mimaki printers. Mimaki, working with Mactac, has done a great job in helping us archive the different profiles you need to fine tune your image with your press, with your ink, with our media. So Mactac.com, at the bottom of the page, there's an ICC profile link. Click on it, and you can find quite a few profiles for your Mimaki press.
Yeah, Ross.
Hey,
Ross, thanks for bringing that
I
up.
have on there, and they didn't get answered. Am I doing something wrong?
Oh, sorry, we didn't open it up for the verbals just yet, but go ahead. What's your question?
Well, one of my questions was, is there adhesive edge leaking with the Rebel 528 high tack that causes the printer rollers to gum up?
We have not experienced any issue with edge ooze on the Rebel material or any of our other materials. The street wrap is a thick adhesive, but feedback from the OEMs, whether it be Mimaki or others, is that there's no adhesive issue with running our material through their presses.
Okay, and the second question, thank you very much for answering that. And the second question would be, what would you recommend cleaning the product surface with prior to printing with UV inks? The alcohol seems to cause a smearing effect.
For the pressure sensitive materials that we talked about today and in general, we do not suggest wiping them down prior to print.
So our oil fingerprints are not going to have an effect on them, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm not certain about the environment that the material is going to be run in, but when it comes out of the box, if it's put onto the press, there's no need to clean it. It's good to go.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And I will mute myself now.
No problem. Thanks. We really appreciate the question. So on the printer side, if you do run into any kind of buildup over a long term on your pinch wheels, we do have guidance on how to either clean or replace those pinch wheels to reduce any type of tracking issues that can occur over time. That is an item that is considered cleanable and also replaceable on all of our products. So if you have an older piece of equipment that you're running and you're running into some adhesive buildup from other films maybe that you're using that's not Mactac, and you've collected that over time, we can provide some guidance on how to clean those up. And to Ross's point, when you're loading the machines on our end, typically you're going to hold the front of the film to feed the material through the machine, and then you'll put your pinch wheels down so that it engages. At that point, whatever you've handled in the front of the film is going to be past the printing engine, so it's not going to be susceptible to fingerprints or anything like that. And Mactac, like many roll manufacturers, have really clean environments when they manufacture these films. So we've not experienced any issues with long-term printing that would require you to wipe down any of the films on the roll as it's coming through the printer, as long as you don't have an environment where you're spilling dust from maybe like a CNC router, or you have some team member that's working where the roll is exposed to them and they have the ability to touch it or rub against it, maybe with something that might be contaminated. In those cases, we might recommend turning the printer around or moving that operation a little bit. But other than that, no, there really shouldn't be a need for you to pre-clean any of the films going through the printer. Great question. How about you, Lisa? What else?
We have one more question, unless you want to go ahead and open it to the floor. Maybe they can ask it openly.
It's up to you. What do you think?
I'll go ahead and ask it, and then we can open it to the floor for further questions. The question is, do you believe in 70% or 90% alcohol to be used for products prior to application?
Well, I think that furthers the comments we just made. So I think this is a little bit more relevant. Sorry, Ross, I'll jump in on this one. It's probably a little bit more relevant for our flatbed printers, because in the flatbed world, typically you're getting a sheeted good, like a piece of acrylic or corrugated plastic that's probably been sitting on a pallet in an open warehouse environment and may have had exposure to contaminants such as moisture or dust or anything like that. And in a lot of cases, as much as the dealers that we share deliver these things as cleanly as they can, during the transportation process, there is a potential for these sheeted goods to get contaminated, either putting it on the truck, getting it off the truck, or there's any number of places where that can happen. So on the flatbed side, we typically recommend some sort of prepping with a substrate. But again, for a film, it's really not that necessary. On the case of the flatbed, though, if you're not using a pre-cut sheet and you are going to roll out and cut that roll to apply it onto your flatbed for printing, there may be a time where you need to wipe that sheet down depending on how much you handle it. If you don't have cotton gloves, for example, to handle it, where you might get some oil contamination from your fingers. In that case, you might want an alcohol. On prepping the surfaces, we typically recommend a 90% or higher alcohol, because the 70% or in between 70 and 90 tends to leave a little too much water residue. And you may not be able to visibly see it, but it's enough to create the proper penetration of the ink onto the material, or the adhesive characteristics that the ink needs to have in order to bond properly. So a higher alcohol content means that it evaporates cleaner, and it means that your surface is going to be less contaminated with other things that might be included in that alcohol. So that's a recommendation that we do typically on the flatbed side. I don't know if
And
you
Mike, if I could,
yeah.
I've got a couple of thoughts in regards to once your graphic is ready to be applied in the field, depending on the surface that you're looking at, an isopropyl alcohol wipe down on a wall or a window, especially, make sure they're clean, and then a final IPA wipe down is recommended. For a floor graphic, like a street wrap or street tracks for outdoor on sidewalk, concrete, or asphalt, just a stiff brush to be able to clean off any dust or dirt or whatever that would be a barrier between the adhesive and the floor would work. On the carpet application, a good vacuum is all is needed.
Yep.
Okay, let's open the floor to questions, Mike.
Let's do it.
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Oh, great. Thanks, guys, for putting this on. I appreciate it. I wanted to pass along a concern from my customers. I'm located in Toronto, Canada. Given the public health crisis that we're going through, do you anticipate, is there going to be any distribution problems over the next little while? I think particularly about the Mactac products, the specialty ones. Is there going to be any issues getting those things in if people want to buy them, or any pricing considerations?
I'll go ahead and
Yeah.
jump in. Our supply chain right now is still very solid in regards to filling orders. And in fact, we've got quite a few orders that are come in because of this situation. We're trying to stay ahead of it. And right now, at this point, we are not experiencing any issues in our supply chain for these products. Mactac has also been putting out information regarding the current situation. And that is going out to the marketplace and is found on our website as well.
Yeah, and on our side, on the Mimaki side, we have an extensive dealer network throughout North America, including Canada. Each one of those dealers holds an adequate number of materials, whether it's inks or parts for machines. They do hold a lot of that inventory, and we also have quite a bit of stock in our warehouses at our managed locations in the U.S. as well. So we have a pretty good level of inventory right now. We do have manufacturing throughout the world. We do have a situation where everyone's being impacted globally. So we do expect that there might be some slowdown in some cases. But right now, the only thing that we're really experiencing from a distribution standpoint is the delivery time of the local delivery drivers, because UPS and FedEx and even the U.S. Postal Service have been really strained with delivering. So I would encourage you again to reach out to our local offices, and they can direct you to maybe an office location of a dealer that sells both products, that can provide you either inks or materials and might be able to deliver them for you as well. they most likely have them on their shelf.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Excuse me,
Absolutely.
long-time listener, first-time caller. I was the one that texted in the question about the stick, non-stick surfaces. The surfaces that I'm looking at are either steel or aluminum that seem to be coated with a type of material that doesn't allow regular, like IJ180, that type of material to stick. And I'm wondering if you've got something that's going to be able to stick to those type of surfaces.
Thank you very much for re-asking your question. I think that what I recommend is reach out to your Mactac district sales manager that was on the presentation, and the presentation is going to be available after the call. And we will provide you sample sheets of different materials. And we've got several different high-tack options that we can send you an 8 by 10 inch sheet for you to do an adhesion trial. And that there's no charge for that. And those sheets come out of Stowe, Ohio. But for that, I would recommend a street wrap. I would recommend a Rebel High Tack or Extreme, or the HTO, the High Tack opaque product that was in the presentation. I would start with those three.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something that you brought up earlier. I kind of got sidebarred a little bit, but the color profiles piece, those may be a critical piece for customers. So the adhesive is important with what you're going on to, but the customer might have a need, whether it's a local or a federal guideline, that there's a specific color that needs to be created for whatever warning. We have on the solvent side specifically, we have a lot of penetration with the ink into the material, so we can hit the right color, and we have that outdoor durability you're looking for. And we also have the ability to do that on the UV curable side. So again, Ross brought up a really good point about color profiles. We work very closely with their teams to make sure that you have the proper profiles, but it's more so not just the color, but also to make sure that you're being efficient with your printer and your material, right? You don't want to overuse the ink or oversaturate the material and create potential adhesive problems if you're dumping way too much ink, for example, on a solvent. So, go to our websites, both the Mactac site and the Mimaki site, and there are profiles available for these films, and these will help you have the optimal settings to get these jobs done in a very efficient way and get them out the door. And again, this is to help you. We really want to put you first. We don't want you to have to reprint jobs or have to worry about failures in the field if you're not using the right settings. So those profiles are a critical piece of it.
Absolutely. And I have confirmed we have over 1,200 Mimaki profiles available for the customer base. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
The one other thing is on the solvent. Mike mentioned laying down a certain amount of solvent. Just make sure that image is dry and the solvent has been released before laminating. If you're going to do that, you don't want to encapsulate any of that solvent, which would work its way through the image, through the film, and into the adhesive, and possibly create a problem with adhesion. So air dry your graphics before laminating them, and that will prevent some issues down the road.
Yeah, and further to that, Ross, it's a great point. The profiles typically have some, at least on the Mimaki side, they have machine settings that are optimal not only for the film but for the ink. So by using those profiles and not guessing at it, the smart heaters that we have on our devices will be set optimally to aid in the quick drying, so that you don't run into any lamination issues after. So again, take those into consideration. Even if color is not a critical thing for you, there's more included in those profiles than just the color range. And they could be the difference between you producing jobs that are going out the door and not coming back to jobs that are either failing or may not be acceptable to your customer for whatever reason. So keep that in mind. Great points though on that side, Ross.
Thank you.
These are great
I have
questions.
a question on the profiles in Rasterlink where they mention the profiles. I really don't recognize any except PET. When it lists all sorts of Japanese names of the profiles, I don't recognize them. Do they have them profiling by brand name like Mactac and what it is you're using or not?
Absolutely. So I'm not sure which version of Rasterlink you're using, but in the Rasterlink software suite, we have a profile download tool that allows you to connect to our server, and you would just simply tell it, with the machine that you've got installed, which brand that you're looking for. So in this case, it would be Mactac, and it will limit down the list of all the Mactac products that we have profiles served on our server. So that's the automated way to do it. If you want to do it manually, it's certainly just as easy. We do have the color profile software that's in that suite of goods. That's where you would go to Mactac's website, and you can see their list of names and the profiles are being provided. You can download those, and you can use the software to install them. And you can also do the same thing on our headquarter website, Mimaki.com. So you would just navigate to the particular printer that you have and the Rasterlink, and it will give you a way to narrow down that list to the Mactac specific products, and then you can download those profiles from there and manually install them. So there's 3 different places that you can go with the same end result. And yes, we do have those in English as well, so that you can see them easily. We do recognize that language barriers can be a challenge sometimes, but we do have a global site that has English on it for you.
Thank you. And one other question about the sheeted products. Are they in standard sizes, or can we request that they be sheeted custom?
Are
For
we
a flat-
talking about pressure sensitive vinyl or other products?
The pressure sensitive vinyl.
The pressure sensitive
The
vinyl, right? Sheeted products are a custom, and so I would suggest working with your district sales manager that was listed for your specific application and project.
Okay. Thank you.
Really great questions. Thank you. Who else? Don't be shy. We're all in this together.
And look at the time.
Yeah.
I have one more for you that we received in chat. It's asking what the best recommendation for high-tack application tape for your Rebel and other lines. Customers' concerns are the app tape is curling at the edges.
The app, can you read the question one more time, please?
Yeah. It says best recommendation for high-tack application tape for your Rebel and other lines. Customers' concerns are the app tape is curling at the edges.
Okay. Mactac has 3 different types of application tapes. We offer a Mac Transfer 210, a 220, and a 230. The 230 is a clear medium, but if they're looking for a high tack, that would be our Mac Transfer 220 product. And again, reach out to your Mactac salesperson in your area, and they'll be happy to help you out with the information and product recommendation. Mike?
Yeah, from us, the transfer tape process, really, it's going to come down to what the customer's expectations are. We don't typically run into a lot of questions about transfer tape, primarily because the transfer tape is bonding to the surface of the film at some level. Even with UV curable, there's usually spots where the film is exposed and the transfer tape's touched to it. So unless you're printing edge to edge with UV curable, we don't usually run into any curl up that we know on our end. But then in a lot of cases, these are laminated. So that takes us out of the discussion a bit when it comes to transfer tape, because the transfer tape is making a marriage to that laminate and the film is covering up the ink in this case. So don't have a lot of recommendations on our side, but it sounds like you do.
Well, and perhaps utilizing the Rebel line, the 90-pound super lay flat liner can help out with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to defer to your better judgment on that, since you're the expert on the film side and the adhesive side.
Very good.
We have another question in chat. When applying a printed decal, what is the best solution to use?
Oh, that's a great question. Ross, you want to take that one first?
So the proper solution to use. So this is in regards to cleaning the surface.
I'm not certain, quite frank. Lewis, can you help us out with your question?
I think the question, there's a follow-up after from the same person. So the way I'm reading is what should be done to prep the surface, but also when you're applying it. So typically we would see on glass specifically the easiest method from our experience, the easiest method, and Ross, you might correct me on this, is to do a wet application when you don't have a repositionable adhesive that gives you the ability to float it a little bit, and then use a squeegee to squeegee it down. And there's recommendations depending on whether you're laminating or not and what type of laminate to have a squeegee that's either a hard squeegee or a squeegee with a soft surface like a hook and loop Velcro type of thing where you have the soft side wrapped around. So there's a lot of squeegee manufacturers that do that. Would you agree that that's, or do you find a different approach is better on your end, Ross?
No, I think it's a good question, and the answer also is you've got different types of application fluids. There are products out there called Rapattac, which is an example of an application fluid, but we've also found and recommended in some of our technical assistance bulletins that can be found on mactac.com that just water and a couple of drops of baby shampoo will work to help you with the material that would be floated on glass, for example, or the decal on stainless steel or aluminum. There are also products that we have that are Aerograss, like our bee-free window films. We really didn't get into that today, but that would be an application that would allow the bubble to be moved through in a dry application. So you put it up, squeegee the air pocket through the adhesive, and you're done without using any kind of Rapattac. And that's called the bee-free window film, or our bee-free media, which is available also.
Yeah, and I would say from our experience, the glass and metal or painted metal surfaces are typically the most susceptible to bubbles or wrinkles when you're doing the application. So that wet application works. But porous surfaces, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't with what our experience is on this side. But a painted wall, for example, gypsum board or drywall is porous, so it allows air to migrate in and out of it. So typically those surfaces, like if you're going onto a painted wall, for example, in a home office environment, even without a Aerograss channel, a lot of the films are able to have the bubbles wiped out pretty efficiently, even without a squeegee, just because you're able to get those bubbles out and the air is going to go through the paint to some extent and through the board. Would you agree or disagree with that, Ross?
I would agree, and not only that, but just the natural nap on a roller that's used in painting the wall gives you some texture that the air goes through as well.
Great. These are fantastic questions. Thank you all so much for asking them. Lisa, do we have any more in the chat window?
No.
Well, if
Y'all
anybody,
have apparently done a really great job.
well, if anybody else wants to chime in and ask any questions, please, we're here for you. We're doing this so that you guys can stay busy and keep your businesses running. So any questions at all, please feel free to ask. Well, it doesn't sound like we have a whole lot of other takers. Lisa, we plan on providing this through our websites, correct? To our customers that attended today, will via email, and then we'll provide some way for them to connect to this information through our website, correct?
Correct.
And Ross, I'm assuming on your end you have the same setup with your website and also through your email, correct?
We'll be correct. We'll be working on that.
Okay. So for those of you that joined today, we'll provide resources. We will also email everyone copies of the information about the particular products that were announced today. So on the Mactac side, all of the spec sheets and information that you need for all the products that we were recommending on that side. And then the printers that we recommended on this side and the ink information that's relevant to those printers, we'll provide those as well so that you have a better understanding of what products we talked about today, what they do, how they work, And if you have one of them, we really appreciate you being a customer. We really appreciate everything that you're doing out there. We hope that you stay healthy and safe. And we hope that this information provides you some way to keep your business going during these most unprecedented times. And hopefully that this is some way for you to navigate these few months that we feel like we're going to be involved in this and come out the other side better for it. Ross, any final thoughts on your end?
Just again, thank you very much for allowing us to participate in this forum. It was fantastic, and we're very honored to be part of it. Also wanted to say thank you for our customers that are purchasing Mactac, and for those that are going to try something new that you learned about today. Best wishes for a successful project, and we're all going to get through this together.
Yeah, and actually we do have one, looks like final set of questions that came through I'd like to field, and we're starting to wrap it up, but we have someone that's asking for a 5-foot wide spot window logo on a textured wall. So on the 5-foot wide, we do offer printers that print up to 64 inches on our traditional printer and print cut devices, but we also have printers that produce up to 10 feet. So there's a lot of versatility in our product line. And if you don't have access to one of those in your shop, we probably can connect you with a customer that can produce a film 5 foot or greater for you. And on the film side, there's a question about whether or not there needs to be anything special to be done on a textured wall, what they should do to the wall prior, and then how to pre-treat it. So Ross, what are your recommendations there?
Finishing up on the 60-inch and greater, Mactac does have products that are 64-inch in our print vinyl gray line. We have 64-inch wide material, and we also have transit material in our Digitrans line, the JDT 429, that is available in a white gloss face and is 64 inches wide as an option. For a textured wall, whether this be brick or block wall, just to make sure it's clean. You don't want to wash a wall and then wrap it 3 days later. You want to make sure that using a stiff brush. We do recommend maybe testing out the adhesive on a portion of the wall to make sure that there isn't any kind of sealant or something that we don't know is on that wall. Typically it's not, but you don't want to find out after your project is started. We do have technical assistance guides on our website for what to do prior to wrapping a wall. And we also have YouTube videos out there that show demonstrations of a lot of our products, including our rough wrap, which is RR100, with our razor cast laminate. We offer a matte laminate that's typically used in those applications. So refer you to again, a Mactac district sales manager to help you with your application, and then use the tools that are on our website, and go look at a short 5-minute video on YouTube for Mactac graphics rough wrap, ROUGH RAP, and you'll find that video online.
Excellent. Well, that was a great last question. So we went a little bit over, I think, the time that we allotted. This has been fantastic, though. We know everybody's time is valuable. You've got many things going on in your day-to-day world, so we'll let you get back to that. We really appreciate your time today. This has been a fantastic turnout, and we've had some really good interaction with the audience. Thank you for your questions. To wrap things up, we'll provide these resources to you, and also please check back on our respective websites so that you can see the information either COVID related or other. So for us on the Mimaki side, it's Mimaki, MIMAKI USA.com. And you can also go on the web and you can see any of the ICC profiles or anything on our parent website, Mimaki.com, MIMAKI.com. And on your side, Ross?
Mactac.com, graphics, and you'll find everything hopefully right there for you.
Okay, well, Lisa, I'll let you wrap this up for us.
Oh, you're doing such a great job.
Thanks.
I'd just like to repeat the same thing that Mike just said, honestly. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you all, and let us know how we can help you stay in business, and we're available for you.
Okay. Ross, thanks. It's been great.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
All right.